It's Sunday, June 14th here at the West End Gun Club over here at the Rimfire range. Gonna get all my gear out and grab some equipment from the Connex container because I'm going to go ahead and dry run through the June 2020 NRL22 Course of Fire. I'm going to go ahead and dry run it and get all the stages, kind of the layout pre-prepped for the match because we're going to actually hold the match this month. We'll be holding the match here at the West End Gun Club on the 4th Sunday. I can't recall what day that is, but we will be having that tentatively, unless something suddenly changes. But some of the matches have resumed here at the West End Gun Club, so we're going to go ahead and try to facilitate that. There are going to be a bunch of restrictions though, but I'll talk about that later on in the vlog. And then I'll include a link to the match kind of program and the match registration link for those of you who are actually in the area and want to sign up and shoot in that match. I'll link to that also in the video description, but I'll definitely talk about some of the restrictions we'll have later on in the vlog. But right now I'm going to go ahead and get all my gear out, and I'm going to drive down to the Connex container, grab some of the stuff, throw it in the truck, and come back to the Rimfire range. It took me the better part of an hour, a little bit more than an hour, to set up all the stages for the NRL22 June 2020 Course of Fire. Set up all the targets, set up all the props, ladders, all that stuff, and set up all the stages and where they need to be placed. And if you haven't seen my previous vlogs and you don't understand why I'm doing this before match day, I come out to the range a week or two before match day to make sure that how I plan out where I'm going to lay out the stages, because due to the way that this range is laid out, you may not be able to see certain targets at certain positions. So I got to make sure I can lay out all the stages, spread them out accordingly, and then check at each stage to see if I can see those targets at position, everywhere from standing to prone, depending on what that stage of fire calls for. And then when I set up the targets, competitors will notice that I also color the targets with flags. So for a given stage, like this one is, I think it's a 50, 75, and 100 yard target, 150, 75, and 100 yard targets. I set this one with red flags. So at the 50, you have a red flag here, and you're going to come up for 75, and you're going to be able to find that there's a 75-yard target here. And when you come for the 100, shooters might get confused because there's one right there, but that's not the target, because I have a blue flag there. Then they're going to find it right there on the left side. That's a red flagged target there. So that's the 3 appropriate targets for that specific stage of fire. Now for another stage, for example, we have the blue flag here. So that one I think has a 100-yard target. They're going to come up and they're going to try to look at the 100-yard target, and it's not going to be that one because that's yellow, but they're going to just come over a little bit to the left and they're going to find that that's the correct target. Makes things easier for people, just so that they don't miss the target or shoot the wrong target due to the proximity of those targets together. And we're not trying to trick the shooters to shooting the wrong target. We just, especially this is NRL22, you got a lot of beginning shooters. You got to make things a little bit easier for them in terms of the logistics. We're not trying to trick them. Let them excel at trying to practice their actual shooting and not worrying about the targets, like which one is the correct target to shoot. So that's what we do for the competitors. Anyway, I think I have everything laid out. I had to spread a few targets farther apart and moved some props over, but let's go ahead and start shooting some of these stages. We'll dry run them and make sure everything runs okay. It's a good little breeze this morning. The wind is swirling around in this culvert, in this canyon or whatever, in the impact area. So it's kind of moving right to left, short range, and then left to right once you get past the 50. We'll deal with it. But we're gonna go ahead and start off with the KYL stage. This is called the Can You Beat the Clock stage. That's what they call it. They named it, but it adds the bonus points for time remaining. So this is kind of what they replaced the paper target stages with from the past seasons, because the past seasons they had paper stages, and those served as the tiebreakers, so to speak, because unlike steel stages where it's hit or miss, there's a lot of chances for ties with steel stages, and so they introduced the paper stages so that it's very unlikely that there'll be a tie, given that with paper stages there's so many variances in shots that you'll rarely ever have ties. So since they got rid of paper stages because people complained about them, they created a fifth. They created that fifth stage with steel, but then they added the bonus points for time remaining. So you get a 1/10 of a point per second remaining on the 120-second part time. Anyway, let's go ahead and read it off. Can you beat the clock? Time 120, 10 rounds. We have the KYLs, the half inch, quarter inch, and half inch at 30, then the 3/4 inch and the 1 inch at 50. And so, shooter will start standing, rifle in hand, mag in, action open. On signal, shooter will drop into prone, supported, and engage the half inch, then 1/4 inch with 1 round each at 30. Then the shooter will transition to the support side and shoot those same 2 targets, and then in that same order. And then shooter will transition back to regular strong side and engage the 1 inch, then 3/4 inch at 50, 1 round each, and transition to support side and repeat the same target engagement. Shooter will transition back to strong side and engage the half inch, 1/4 inch, 1 shot each. And then shooter must verbally indicate they've completed the course of fire to stop the timer. But we're going to use the timer as like the last to, hopefully my timer will detect my shots and we'll use that as the round or time remaining after that 10th round is fired. So 77.82 is my time, 10 shots. So if we do the math, 120, 77, what is that? 23 plus 20, 43 seconds. I think we're rounding down because you're taking full seconds. So I guess I got 43 seconds, so I get 4.3 extra points, I guess. Is that what they're saying? So anyway, we'll do the math on that. Let me write that down. 120 seconds minus 77.82 is 42.18, which gives me 4.2 seconds. We're going to round down because I guess you take full seconds. So 4.2 bonus points on that with 100 points because I didn't miss. So 10 hits, and then so I got 104.2. So that's my score for stage 1. It's a pretty easy stage, the KYL stage. I probably slowed myself down when I was adjusting the parallax back down to 35. I probably lost about 5 or 6 seconds. So that's a good, 5/10 of a point that would have been valuable for the tiebreaker, but it is what it is. Get your hits first, worry about the tiebreakers later. It's a pretty straightforward stage. I don't think many people have that difficulties with this KYL stage, but we're gonna go ahead and move on. The next stage of fire is called Are You Confused Yet? It's going to be a prone position, a prone supported stage. 3 targets, 1 inch at 50, 1.5 inch at 75, and a 2 inch at 100. 120-second part time, 10 rounds. The shooter you'll start standing, rifle in hand, mag in, action open. On start signal, shooter will take a prone position and engage the targets in the following order with 1 shot each. So this is where it gets confusing, hence the name Are You Confused Yet? 75, 50, 100, 100, 50, 75, 50, 100, 50, 75. There's no real pattern here. It's like middle, near, far, far, near, middle, near, far, near, middle. So I highly suggest that you just print out the stage of fire or write down the order, and just keep it on the ground next to you when you get in position so you just don't lose track of what you need to hit. That's my only tip on this stage that I'm seeing right now. I haven't shot it yet, but we'll go and run through it and we'll see how it goes. So finished with 112 on the clock, 8 seconds left. I actually shot that pretty sloppily, I don't know how it was. I was pretty loose on this one. Didn't have great position. I was rushing transition bag and adjusting parallax and elevation. I don't practice much holding over that degree of on the reticle. Maybe I should practice that. But that's where I lost all my time, is adjusting parallax and the elevation. But it's pretty straightforward. You just have to be quick on the gun and looking down. Like I was shooting, looking down to the side. Definitely when you're setting up yourself for this, you'll want to make sure that you have it easily visible. Maybe have it underneath the gun, so all you do is look down like this, because I was looking down towards my elbow area where I had my clipboard, and that, you know, I'm hitting my door of my hat against the bellow of the scope. Definitely put it forward of you, so all you gotta do is just look at the scope, look down, look up, look down, and just with your eyeball and not have to move your head. So that's kind of my mistake. Learn from me right now in terms of how to optimize that. But again, set yourself up for success as best you can. Nothing in the rules says you can't have stuff written down like that. So that's what I recommend. And if you have your dope card, you maybe want to write down your dope card, but I highly recommend just printing out the stage of fire and then just placing it here in front of you, and that should work out the best. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next stage. Although I may come back and shoot this one again because I have some ideas. And well, you know, let me just shoot it one more time since I'm right here. Let me shoot this stage one more time, and we'll see if it goes any better than 112 seconds. So finished with 99.28 seconds on the clock, so I was faster. Definitely this, having this here forward of me just so I can see it within my sight, my line of sight, definitely helps out, saves a few seconds. And then knowing that you have that third and fourth shot, you have hundreds right after each other, 2 shots in the same distance, take that opportunity to speed up on that one, so because you know you don't have to reach up for your turrets. So that's probably going to save you a couple extra seconds if you're well aware that you're not coming off the gun to transition between the third and fourth shot. Anyway, pretty straightforward stage. Let's go ahead and load up some mags and then move on to the next stage. The next stage of fire is probably going to be the least favorite for most people for this course of fire. It's called all this up and down up. It's going to be a sling stage, all sling, no bipod or bag. So 2 targets, 122nd, 10 rounds with 2 targets, 50 yard, 6 inch at 50, a 4 inch at 100. Shooters are going to start standing, rifle in hand, mag in, action open. On start signal, shooter will engage the 50-yard target from the unsupported standing position with 3 shots. Shooter will transition to unsupported prone, engage a 100-yard target with 3 shots. Shooter will then transition back up to standing, 2 shots at 50, then back down to prone, 2 shots at 100. So basically 3 standing, 3 prone, 2 standing, 2 prone. Pretty straightforward, not much thinking there. It's just trying to shoot with this unsupported standing and then slung prone. But we're gonna go ahead and try this out. I'm gonna go ahead and, I usually leave my bipod extended like this. Even though I don't use my bipod just for a rest, but for the sake of making sure my bipod doesn't hit the ground, I'm gonna go ahead and put the legs up. Let me come off this mic because it's so difficult to shoot with the mic on. Three hits. So 10 for 10. It was pretty straightforward and easy to shoot because I've got experience in high power shooting. I was an across-the-course shooter for several years, which was, service rifle, the AR-15. We shot a 200-yard standing, 200-yard sitting, 300-yard prone, 600-yard prone, all from sling with iron sights. And so this is relatively simple for me. The targets are big, so 6 inch at 50 yards. It's so hard to miss. Well, I don't say that. It's not impossible to get hits consistently on a 6 inch target. Just relax, take your time. Once you get your reticle on target, just pull the trigger. There's no thinking about it. You have to have a procedure too. David Tubb has this. David Tubb is probably the most accomplished high power shooter ever, and the guy's a multiple national champion. But he discusses in one of his books and how you're supposed to transition to your target and standing. You're not supposed to just get on standing, hold as tight as you can, and then just try to hold the reticle or the sight post on target and then shoot once you hold the center. you're supposed to guide that reticle in there, and I did not do that, so I was not as good at standing as other people, like high masters. But you're supposed to have a cadence. Some people come left to right because they're silhouette shooters to do that. Some people come top down or bottom up, but basically the idea is you start from a certain position, you know where your reticle is going to, or your sight post or reticle is going to come in, then you put it in target. Once you have it put in target, pull the trigger, because you're kind of shooting into the target. You're not holding on target and shooting. So have a cadence. Anyway, 6-inch at 50, pretty simple to hit. Once your reticle's on, just pull the trigger. Just don't think about it. Once your reticle's on, once you see it in your eye, just got to pull that trigger. Because if you try to hold for a better sight picture on a standing position, you're going to lose it. And more often than not, you're going to pull the trigger while your rifle's coming off the target, and that's bad. But yeah, it's a pretty straightforward stage, 10 for 10. All I can say is if you're not comfortable standing, just start practicing a lot more. At home, dry fire, standing at the range with rimfire, it's easy. Just stand, set up a target 50 yards, and just shoot all day. It's a good practice. I think we're on the last stage, the 5th stage. Oh no, we have 2 more stages: ladder and then the tire stage. So let's I got mags loaded. Yeah, I got mags loaded. So let's go ahead and move on. The next stage of fire we're running to is called shots and ladders. It's going to be pretty straightforward. 1 target, 2.5-inch at 80 yards, 120-second part time, 10 rounds. You're going to start standing, rifle in hand, mag in, action open. On start signal, shooter will engage the target with 1 shot in the following order off this ladder. You're going to go bottom step, second, third, fourth, third, second, bottom, second, third, fourth. So basically you're going to work your way up, work your way down. You're not going to take 2 shots on the same rung sequentially. So you're always moving. And so you're allowed 1 bag or 1 piece of equipment. And for those who are unaware of the rules changes for the 2020-2021 season, you got to go read those. I'm not going to go through all of them, but they now allow quote-unquote gamer plates. And so I've had the Area 419, or Area 419, sorry, that's the correct way to say it. It's 419. And I've had their, I can't even remember the rail changers, their equipment here, and so I have one equipped with this small bag. I can't remember the name of this, but I'll mention it in the I'll probably do an overlay in the video once I do the editing on this. And I have it's permanently attached, and this is better than running my game changer, because I do have a game changer as well that's on this rail changer device that hooks up to the Arca rail. But the reason why I like this small bag is because it's easy to fit into these tight spaces like this ladder. Because the problem with the ladder is that you don't have much space between the rungs, so it's with a large bag like a game changer. It's very, whoa, this is rocking. There it is, right there. It's a lot easier with the smaller bag. So I'm gonna run this bag, see how it works. I haven't really shot, I've never used it in NRL22 because it's not allowed. But it was not allowed previously, but it is now. So let's go ahead and run through this with this bag. Miss. Hit. Miss. 2 misses so far. Three misses. I think I need to hold right. hit that grazed just barely. This ladder is not stable. Hit. So 3 misses. I need to figure out a way to make this ladder locked in. Maybe I'll get some carpet or something to, I don't think this concrete is level. Maybe I'll put some of the legs and the feet in the dirt. We'll go and do that right now. Let's try this. I'm gonna shoot it one more time. And I went over, according to this, I was 135. And I didn't hear the timer go off, which is not good. I need to readjust. This is a brand new shock timer I'm using. Can I review this? So shot 9 was 119 seconds. So technically, according to this, I would my 9th shot was fine. It was under 120. My last shot was 135 seconds. So technically 4 misses on this one, if we want to be correct. So remember that in my head, 4 misses. My pen's over there. Miss. Hit. Barely. Oh shoot. Supposed to go 3rd rung. Miss. 2 misses so far. Still over time. That last shot was at 129. So yeah, 3 misses plus a miss plus a no shoot over time. So my last shot was 117. My 9th shot was 117. My last shot was 129. So I'm kind of slow on the gun. Transition. So right now I missed 3, -1 for a shot after target. So that one's pretty difficult. That was still -4. Not sure how to gauge this stage in terms of being able to shoot this one better, but definitely needs practice. My stability is not all that great with this particular bag. It's not perfect. I'm wondering if I should just, I mean, you're just gonna run nothing here and just run a bag on your, like underneath your arm. That's one way to go. But I think I'll just run this because it's just easier, not having to pick up a bag, place it, just rather just run it like this. So anyway, let's go ahead and move on to the last stage. The last stage of fire we're going to run through is called I'm Getting Tired. And we have a tire and a barrel. It's going to be a pretty straightforward stage in terms of targets. You got 2 targets, a 1.5 inch at 75 and a 2 inch at 100 yards. 10 rounds, 120-second part time. You're going to start standing, rifle in hand, mag in action open. On start signal, shooter will take a position on the left side of the tire, engage each target with one shot each near to far. Shooter will then move to the right side of the tire, engage each target with one shot each far to near. Shooter will move to the 55-gallon barrel, engage each target one shot each near to far. Shooter will move to the right side of the tire and engage each target with one shot each from far to near. And then shooter will go to the left side of the tire and engage each target with one shot each near to far. So near to far to near to far to near to far. Pretty straightforward. Then the match director note: tire will be laying flat and bipod cannot touch the ground. So the tire is basically supporting the rifle, and then probably your bag for the rear side. The painting a line down the middle will help the left and right side, but we have these poles here on the rimfire range, so I'll just use that to bisect this tire. And then the 55-gallon barrel will be standing upright. So we'll run this stage and we'll see how it goes. That was a 10 for 10. I have no idea if I was under time. I don't know if my shot timer, detected. I don't know. I'll have to look at it in video, but assuming that didn't detect my shots on this side, this is 109.87. I might be over time. I'm over time, 113 seconds. That last round, those last 2 rounds are going to come on the. So my timer was far away from the last 2 shots, but my 8th shot was 113 seconds. So I would have been overtime on these 2 last rounds. I don't know how to speed up myself on this one. I think a lot has to do with the fact that I'm trying to get everything stable as I move from section to section, and it's a little awkward on this tire. I think for all intents and purposes, I may try to game this a little bit more in terms of I'll use the flat end of the bottom of the fore end and just kind of jam my gun into this, and then just kind of tighten myself, push into the tire, and that should help me out with the stability. And kind of squeeze the bag into that. Yeah. I don't know. Definitely don't. I don't think I should use the bipod at all as a rest. I think that was just making things more complex. It's better just to wedge the fore end on there and then use the bag here as sort of a kind of a buffer or a dampener. All right, that's kind of it. I'm gonna go ahead and take a few notes for the stages to see where all the stages are laid out. I spray painted some stuff. I need to do a little bit of maintenance on the where I have my target markers, but other than that, I'm pretty much done. So once I handle that, it's gonna take me like 30 minutes to tear everything down and pack it all up into the Connex container, and then we'll close out this vlog. Just walking to grab the targets. I got several to pull in, but just wanted to point out how nice of a day it is today. Yesterday was actually pretty cool in SoCal. I think it only hit 75 degrees, but today is going to be around low 80s, I think. I didn't really pay attention to the weather report, but it's actually really nice out here. It's getting a little bit warm right now in the sun, but it's a nice day to be at the range. If you can hear all the gunshots around me, it's pretty active on Sunday morning. But yeah, it's pretty nice out. So a quick view of the targets at 100 yards. You can see I have them how they're spaced out here. Got these target stands with the little flag on there just to identify them. But I'm gonna go pull all these in. I just put these little, hopefully this hold up. Shouldn't rain in the next 2 weeks, but I just kind of painted in the dirt, and this should give me a quick reference point when we come back on the 4th Sunday of the month, match day, to actually set up the targets. It'll make it easier for me to remember where I had put them when I pre-staged today. So just to save myself the time. And what I need to do actually is I need to go ahead and paint these targets before match day, because what happens often is that I pack up and I don't take care of I don't paint the targets again. So I'm gonna paint them at home, and then they'll be ready to go on match day, so I don't have to paint them in the morning. The one less thing to do, right? All done shooting, packed up, got everything in the Connex container. It took a while to break it down. On my way out, I'm gonna ask the ROs, or the range officers, if I'm allowed to drive on the side, because next to the Rimfire range is actually the old 500-yard shooting pad, and you can drive up past that, and then there's like a little cutout. I think that's where the Silhouette guys, who shoot Rimfire here, I think they drive up that to set up their targets in the back. So I'm just gonna find out to make sure it's cool on match day if I drive up there on that side, just so I can get to the elevated areas, and it'll save me the time of setting up target to the 75, 65, 75, 85, up to 100. It'll save me a solid 15 to 20 minutes instead of having to walk back and forth by myself carrying, a handful of targets, handful of stands, going back and forth, and the hard target hangers, and get the spray paint, and then shuffling stuff back and forth. So I'm gonna ask them to make sure it's cool. I don't know if they locked the gate either. So, but today I got what I needed to get done. I come out to shoot just to make sure that I have the stages laid out, like the planning laid out correctly. So come match day, it's just, look at my notes, throw everything down, and I'm in the where they're supposed to be the last time they were at. And then not much thinking as far as that's concerned. So it speeds up the setup time on match day. And then if you guys haven't shot the Course of Fire yet and you were planning on shooting the June 2020 NRL22 Course of Fire, either here or anywhere else in the United States. Hopefully my dry run gave you some tips or ideas on how it's going to go, where you might find some difficulties. And then if you don't have the opportunity, I mean, if you do have the opportunity, go shoot the Course of Fire by yourself, even dry fire at home, you know, set up a ladder in your garage or something and just kind of run through the motions. And it's a good way to get the exercise and repetitions and figure out kind of how you're going to move on that stage of fire. So anyway, hopefully my dry run helped you out if you haven't shot it yet and are planning on shooting that Course of Fire. Next time I'm going to be out at the range, probably come out before match day. I will come out here to shoot with some coworkers. I know they wanted to come out and shoot some guns. And I know one of my coworkers doesn't have a gun and he wants to get something. So we'll bring out an assortment of handguns or whatever just for him to try out and see what he likes, if we have anything he does like. And then I may not range vlog that because it's kind of a work thing, but we'll see how it goes. I might bring the camera and just shoot some footage anyway. And then if I vlog it, I'll vlog it. Otherwise, I may not range vlog that session. But yeah, that's it for today. Today is June 14th, Sunday here at the West End Gun Club. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next vlog. I'm about to go run some errands really quick, but I realized while I was editing the range vlog that I totally did not discuss the match restrictions that we're going to have for this month's NRL22 match. I mentioned in the beginning of the vlog that I'll talk about it while I was at the range, but I just neglected to do so. So I'm going to tack this little short clip at the end just to have that discussion there. So very quickly, some of the primary restrictions we're going to have. Hard cap. I'm going to probably restrict registrations to 15 participants, not counting 3 match staff. We're going to run 3 squads concurrently, 5 per squad. I'm going to limit the amount of people on the firing line during each live fire. So you're going to have each squad will run concurrently, but each squad will only have like 3 people. Your shooter, obviously, your scorer, and your spotter, and maybe a second spotter for 4 people total, but I'll try to keep down to 3, maybe 4. Your on-deck person is ready to rotate on after that shooter's done. Will probably be off the line behind the squad somewhere in that area. And then once that shooter rotates out, that on-deck person will rotate in. That shooter coming off will go find the next person on the squad. Hey, get on deck, right? Everyone who's not actively shooting or on deck will be like away from the firing line. If you've seen the rimfire range, you'll probably be in what quote unquote the parking lot or whatever. It's not a parking lot, but it's just basically the dirt area behind the actual firing line. Want to limit the amount of people there because we want to enforce that 6-foot social distancing rule. It's kind of the restriction that we have for all matches at West End Gun Club that are resuming right now. That's one of the stipulations, is 6-foot social distancing. Number 2, masks. Got to wear masks while you're at our event. These are events, so these events at our venue you must wear a mask. When you're actively firing, you don't have to wear your mask and just kind of pull it down, but when you come off the line, you'll put it back on. And if I've learned how to adjust my mask, wear my mask or my face covering such that I don't fog up my glasses, because I wear glasses all the time. If you can do that, great. Otherwise, you can pull it down when you're shooting and put it back on when you're done. Other restrictions, we're probably going to restrict, I'm probably going to ask people not to bring any other guests with them because we need to limit the amount of people in the firing area, in the venue, right? So in the firing line and in the actual venue where people are waiting to shoot. I want to limit the amount of people there. That's why we have a hard cap. If we have a hard cap of registrants, having extra people who are just dilly-dallying and just watching people shoot, I can't have that happen, unfortunately. So I'm going to ask people not to bring any guests. It is what it is. If there's people who just randomly walk in and just start watching, I'm going to ask them to leave, or I'm going to ask the match directors, hey, if you're not part of the match, you've got to go just because of the hard cap of the number of people on the area. So it is what it is on that. And then I'm going to have a few other stipulations, regarding equipment sharing and stuff like that. It's all for the safety for the guests and the participants of the match. So anyway, link to the match program on the WEGC website, and the link to the practice score registration page will be in the video description. Again, just want to throw this at the tail end of this range vlog. Sorry I didn't mention it or talk about it while I was at the range. But yeah, thanks again for watching. I'll see you in the next vlog.